What's going on, guys? The next big project today on my 92 W250 is we're going to be doing sound deadening in the cab. So I found that since owning this thing, it's been pretty loud on the highway and just driving around from the interior. It's got a straight pipe exhaust. There's no muffler on it. There's 4-inch on the back, but it still has the stock down pipe. So we're going to be doing interior sound deadening. It's got just the factory carpet right now and headliner and everything. So whatever they have for stock sound deadening, it isn't much. But we're going to be installing some products from Sound Deadener Showdown and doing this, what I think is the best way to do it after a little bit of searching around. There's a whole bunch of different products we'll be using from Sound Deadener Showdown. But the big thing is this mass loaded vinyl. That's heavy stuff. And then to decouple it with this closed cell foam. And we got some contact cement for gluing the mass loaded vinyl. And then we have these CLD tiles, which is kind of like the stuff that, because I've used Dynamite before, it's kind of like the same stuff, but looks a little bit better. And we're only going to be covering about 25% of each panel with that stuff, so that'll control the resonance, I guess, and then that mass loaded vinyl stuff will just completely block out all the sound. So we're going to try and cover like every square inch of the cab with that. So we're going to do a few readings with the sound meter before and after. The plan is to do exterior sound at idle and at, let's say, 2000 RPM, and then we're also going to do interior at the idle and 2000 RPM, and then we'll also do 50 kilometers an hour going down the road and 100 kilometers going down the highway, 100 kilometers an hour before and after.
Okay, we're in the interior of the truck now. We're going to start the truck and see what the reading is at an idle and up at RPM. It'll be 1500 RPM, and when I was taking the reading outside, it was 1500 RPM, not 2000, just for reference. All right, so just let things quiet down in the cab here for a second. It's got a reading of about 38 sitting here with the truck not started, so now we'll start it. Okay, we're getting a reading of about 71 just sitting on an idle. And we're up at 1500 RPM now, getting a reading of about 80. We're out on the highway, 4-lane highway, expressway, whatever you want to call it here. We're going 100 kilometers an hour, about 60 miles per hour. And we're getting a reading 79, 80. Pretty much steady rate about 80.
All right, now we're going to start ripping out the whole interior now that we've gotten our initial readings. We'll take it all out and then we can start installing some sound deadener. Okay, so just a quick update here. We have all of the interior ripped out now. Got it all laid out in the back of the truck. All the trim panels and the carpet. Everything except the door panels. What we're going to do is we'll do everything on the inside, and then we'll just do the door panels last. Those are easy to do with the interior in. We'll do the hard part first. So all the carpets out, the back wall, and the side walls. Side wall up here, the whole roof, headliner, and also the kick panels. The kick panel on that side was a bit difficult to get off, but we got it. So now we can start doing some sound deadener. Existing, what it has now, it looks like there's really no sound deadener in here. Except for whatever this spray is. It's not really doing anything. There's some padding on the bottom of the carpet. Just that little bit, but that really doesn't do all that much. So here's the before sound. The big tin can. That's a really loud one on the side panels. Up here, not as much sound coming from there, but we'll try and get up as far as we can up on the firewall too. Alright, so let's get to it. Alright, so we're going to be starting with the CLD tiles first. And we've divided it up into each area of the cab. We're going to start with the roof, and then we'll do the back wall, and then the sides, and then the floor. And then after that, we'll move on to the mass-loaded vinyl, which is separated from the floor by this closed cell foam. Okay, so with these CLD tiles, we're starting on the roof first. The rule of thumb is to get 25% coverage in the central area of the panel. So what I've done here is I'll just start with the edge, and then I'll peel back, and then just get it started with my hand. And then you take your roller, get a roller of some sort, and then just lightly roll over it to get all of the air bubbles out of it. Just like that. And then we're going to do that to the entire roof. We've already divided up our panels, so we're using 14 on the roof panel. Okay, so we've finished the roof panels, installing the CLD tiles. Now we'll move on to the back wall. Okay, so we've just finished installing the CLD tiles on the back wall of the cab. We had a couple small extras that we put up on the sides there. And now we can move on to the back quarter panels. Okay, so our next update, we finished installing those CLD tiles onto the floor. And we also did, I think, the kick panels since the last update. Got the kick panels done. Those rear quarters have been done, the back wall. Now we can move on. We've decided that we're going to tackle the floor next. Alright, quick update here. We've laid down the closed cell foam first. This stuff so far seems to be pretty easy to work with. It's just real thin, and it kind of forms to the surfaces pretty well. We took one sheet back there, and then we took 2 sheets lengthwise this way to go across, and then we kind of patched up this corner. We poked through holes for the seat belts and for the seat. Now we can move on to the mass-loaded vinyl. Alright, so we laid down the mass-loaded vinyl onto the floor. What we sort of did, since it's a little bit more hard to work with, we took the width of the sheet and ran it down the center because that's the most flat part. Sort of made a seam right there, and then sort of did another panel up there, and then brought it over to this side. And then this side's a little bit more patchy than the other, but I mean, we got up as far as we could on the firewall, and then you have to make cuts just to form it around the curves a little bit. I mean, doing the floor is the hardest part because there's so many curves and stuff. So we did what we could there. What you do is you overlap it, and if you have any seams that are open to the foam or the floor below, you put some strips on it with the contact cement, the vinyl contact cement, and then put a little bit on both sides, and then just put these pieces on. And basically, if you just cover up all the exposed sheet metal or foam that's underneath, the idea is just to make a complete cab of being surrounded by this stuff, right? So that'll block out all the sound. So we did the floor, here's that side, and then back in these corners. And we already did the sidewall quarter panels, or whatever you call those, extended cab areas. The sides are a little bit different because you need to hold up the mass loaded vinyl somehow. So you have to use these Velcro strips that you got, or that we got. So what you do is you adhere the Velcro strips to the back side of the vinyl, and then cut holes in your closed cell foam, and then adhere your closed cell foam to your vinyl. So you basically just, this is supposed to be like Velcroed on. It's having a hard time sticking, I'm finding, on these back extended cab panels. I was also finding we were having a hard time getting these CLD tiles to stick on these backside panels, so I'm hoping that's the only problem areas we're gonna have for the Velcro to stick. But so I think I'm gonna work on the kick panels next, and then probably tackle the back wall in a couple of pieces. Doing it in one piece would probably be a little bit too difficult. So we'll get to it. Alright, I just want to show a quick example of what I'm doing here with the closed cell foam and the mass loaded vinyl and the Velcro, that whole combination. So the idea is to have this whole sound deadening layer and not have it stuck to your vehicle, and have it be able to be easily removed. So you got the mass loaded vinyl on the outside, which is the same dimensions and the same outline as the closed cell foam, which decouples the mass loaded vinyl from the car itself, and then it's attached with the Velcro pieces. So what I've been doing, and I found the easiest for me so far, is use the closed cell foam to get you your outline of what you need, because it's pretty easy to work with. And then you use that and trace it onto your mass loaded vinyl so you have the same shape. And then you contact cement the closed cell foam onto the mass loaded vinyl after you cut out your Velcro holes, which holds up the whole panel onto the vehicle. So this is for the driver's side kick panel, and that's how I've been doing it so far, and it seems to be working not too bad. It's sticking a little bit better on the kick panels than it was on those extended cab panels, which is good. So on we go. Okay, so we've just put on the MLV onto the back wall. Those two strips there are seams. And we've done the back corners of the extended cab part as well. And then we just put this strip across the top, and there'll be a trim piece that goes over top of that. We just glued it along the top, and then we're gonna form it around here with the trim panel, and maybe glue it on the bottom if it sticks well, or the trim panel will just hold it. So now that we've finished the floor and all the kick panels and everything else, the idea with this stuff is to do everything from the glass down, and then we'll hit the roof with that foam, so we can start putting the carpet back in, I guess. Now it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to get some of the boots on and the trim pieces on, but we can do it. Okay, so we've installed the carpet now on the extended cab panels on the driver's side, and we've also installed the speakers and the back carpet a little bit, and this side. What we did was we just used the HH66, I think it's called, contact cement, and it seemed to work pretty well. The back carpet is just held in place by those speakers and there'll be the trim piece on the bottom and then the trim piece on the top that'll hold it in place, so I don't think it needs glued. So now we'll do the rest of the roof with that foam, and then we can start putting all the trim pieces back on. So we're working on the roof panel now, applying that foam to the top. And we found that construction adhesive doesn't really work so well. You want something sort of adhesive that dries quickly so it can hold it in place, and then you can put your headliner on. What we found, what we had in stock just that worked well for us was this 3M yellow weather strip adhesive, and you apply it to both surfaces, and it's kind of goopy, but it dries quick and it holds up the foam well enough until we can get the headliner in. So we've installed the foam onto the roof, and now that we've finished that, we also put a couple pieces on the side there to go behind the trim panels. A couple pieces on that side. Now we can go ahead and work our way top down to put the interior back in. Starting at the headliner, and then we'll do the trim pieces, and then we can put the carpet in. Okay, so we've put on most of the trim and the headliner at the top. It was a bit difficult to get it on in some spots, but you just have to push and find the holes. It's handy using this little picky tool to just find the hole and then line yourself up so you can put the screws on, I find. So we're just about ready to put the carpet on now, and then we have just a few panels left, like the kick panel and then these 8-pillar trims. Okay, so we've put back the interior and put everything back on, and all the trim pieces and the carpet. Now all that we have left is to do both door panels, and then we can take some sound readings. Alright, so I'm working on the door here now, and I just want to show a couple of things that I've been doing. This is day 3 now of the sound deadener installation. All the inside of the cab took about 2 days with 2 people, myself and my dad working. And now that's all that's left is just the doors. So on the doors, what we're doing is we're sound deadening the exterior door skin with the CLD tiles, as well as some of the interior part of the door shell, just to stop vibration, and especially around the speaker area, because we want a nice sounding speaker with no rattling. I've used up, I think I budgeted 5.5 CLD tiles per door on this. Could have used a little bit more, but we had some Dynamat left over from the Mustang project that we did for sound deadening, so I just used it. So I'll just show you inside what I've done with the CLD tiles on the bottom. These 2 in the middle were factory, and then I got like a little bit of Dynamat up there, and then CLD up there, full tile. And then after the CLD tiles, well, before that, sorry, I sprayed it all down with spray 9 because I get my truck crowned, and that creates like an oily residue on the panel, on the inside of the panel, because they get inside the doors and the rockers and stuff, and spray that with oil to prevent rust up here in Canada. But anyways, spray that down clean, and then put your CLD tiles on. And then what I did was I worked with the mass loaded vinyl first instead this time. I put my mass loaded vinyl, I took the door panel off and all the door clips, and then I basically just laid the door panel on top of the mass loaded vinyl roll, and then just traced it, cut it out, and then trimmed it a bit to make sure it fit well. And then I sort of just hung it up there, cut the holes for my switches, and then my door handle, kind of using the panel as well as a template. And then I found that these two big screwdrivers I could just stick in the holes of the door panel clips, and then sort of find where I needed to cut a few other things, or find where I wanted to put the Velcros. But I used the door panel for cutting the holes for the actual clips themselves in the mass loaded vinyl. And what I'm gonna do here with the closed cell foam is I'll just be able to poke through when I go to put the door panel on with those clips, so that way I'll have a nice rattle-free installation. But I cut the holes for them on the mass loaded vinyl themselves. So these holes are for the Velcro strips, and then all those other holes are for the clips. Just inside there. And I didn't cut the hole for the pressure release vent. So that vent here, I'm thinking is when you shut the door, it's like a pressure release, so it makes it easier to shut the door. But I'm not going to cut it for now and just see if I even really need it. And if I need it, then I'll just cut it open, just because I want to get things as quiet as possible. So I'm gonna see if that fits with the door panel on after I contact cement these together. So I'm gonna put contact cement in strategic spots and then put all my Velcro on, and then see if it fits with the door panel, and then install it. The good thing about this now is that if this one side fits, I'll just make templates on the closed cell foam roll and the mass loaded vinyl roll, and then all I have to do is flip it over and it should be the same as the driver's side, and it may just require a little bit of trimming, but it should be quicker after doing one side. Alright, so I just want to show real quick here on the speakers. I'm using this from Deadener Showdown. It's like a butyl rope. Here's what it looks like here. It's very malleable, and it's sticky, but it can come off. And what it does is it acts as a barrier between the speaker and the sheet metal, so it doesn't vibrate it as much. And the speaker has built-in material like that, but this adds another layer, so it can't hurt to make your speakers sound better if you use that material. So I'm just doing that. I did that on both sides. I just finished up the passenger side there. Had a little bit of a hard time getting the door panel on. It doesn't sit perfectly flush, but that's okay. I got most of the clips on. There's a couple that aren't biting, but that's okay. Okay, I'm wrapping up the driver's side door with the closed cell foam layer and the mass loaded vinyl layer. I've used the same procedure that I did on the passenger side. Just used the template for this side and made things pretty quick. So here's the benefit of doing the dual layer with the Velcro is if you ever need to get inside these doors, all you have to do is peel it off. Now there's a whole bunch of Velcro on the back side of this, wherever I put it. So that's all got Velcro on it. There's some more Velcro up there. So if I ever need to get inside of these doors, it's very easy to take them off and then put them back on in the right spot. So now we'll put the door panel back on, and then we'll be finished.
Okay, we've got all the sound and deadener in. Now we're about to take a spin to test it out. So you can see here on the card that I've got in front of the camera that sitting inside the truck with the truck not running before the project started, it was at 38 decibels. Now it's at 31.3. So it's dropped significantly. So we're going to now fire it up and let it idle. Before it was at 71, and then revving was at 80. So we'll see what it is after. So we'll rev it up to 1500 now. tinny sound that used to be in the truck when you were out on the highway. That's now gone. Just overall a more solid and quiet ride. So let's just have a look at the reading here. Somewhere between 76.5 and 77. Yeah, we'll call it 76.5.
Okay, so we just got back from our test drive. Again, here's the results of the test drive before and after. This was a long project. Took about 3 days with 2 people, myself and my dad. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. The biggest result, I don't think showed so much in the decibel meter, is you can just hear the sound being absorbed by the foam on the roof, and just the overall sound at the mid-range and the airborne sound is just gone for the most part. It sounds very different when I shift. I always shift around 2,000 RPM, and it sounds much quieter at that point, because it used to, when I was shifting at 2,000 RPM, sound like it was just screaming, but now it really doesn't sound like that anymore.
It's been dead.
So, also another point I noticed listening to my radio, when I'm on the highway, I usually listen to my radio and it's at like volume 20 to 22 and I can hear it okay. And I notice now that when we're on the highway, I can hear it okay around volume 15, and I'm pretty happy with it. So that's a huge reduction on that part. It made the stereo system sound a lot better. I can hear the bass a lot better. So yeah, overall, very happy with the sound deadening from Sound Deadener Showdown. That whole system that he uses, it seems to work pretty well. So if you're looking to sound deaden your vehicle, this is an option, especially for guys with those diesel trucks that want to make it a little bit quieter on the inside. Again, this truck has a straight pipe from the turbo back. There's no muffler. It's stock downpipe, but it has a 4-inch tailpipe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.